fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
Don't throw those bottles away. Turn them into money today. Vitamalt bottles equal cash in your pocket. It's super easy. Just take those empty Vitamalt bottles to any Cara Brewery distribution truck or any drinks depot in St. Kitts and Nevis. We're keeping our beautiful Twin Island paradise clean. Vitamalt bottles equal cash back. Keep it clean, keep it green. Vitamalt bottle returns. Your bottles, your cash, your island.
If you live in low-lying areas, be aware of the possibility of tsunamis immediately after an earthquake. A strong earthquake lasting 20 seconds or more is a natural tsunami warning. Do not wait for an official warning. Gather your family members and evacuate immediately after the shaking stops. Don't delay. A tsunami could occur within minutes.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WinFM.
Hey, have you heard about the water shortage in our area?
Yeah, it's pretty serious. I've been trying to conserve water as much as possible.
Me too. I've started taking shorter showers and turning off the faucet when I brush my teeth.
That's great. Another way to save water is to fix any leaks in your house.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. How much water can a leak waste?
A small leak can waste up to 20 gallons of water daily, which can really add up over time.
Wow, that's a lot. And have to check for any leaks in my house.
But another good tip is to only run your dishwasher and washing machine when they're full to save water and energy.
I'll keep that in mind. It's important that we all do our part to conserve water, especially during this shortage.
Absolutely. Every drop counts.
This message was brought to you by the St. Kitts Water Services Department. Learn more at water.gov.kn.
And a pleasant good day to you and yours. The time is 6 minutes after the 1 o'clock hour, and we have in studios with us a representative from the Department of Environment. He's going to introduce himself momentarily, and let me just about go to him so that he can do that. Good day, sir. A pleasant good day to you.
Hi, good day. My name is Shervan Gardner, Environmental Educational Officer at the Department of Environment, and I'm here with my colleague.
Eric Brown, Forestry Officer.
Okay. You may go ahead. You may, well, let me begin by asking you to what do we have you in our audience today? I have something in front of me that says you're going to be speaking to, I would assume you're going to be speaking to new plans for the year that will be ongoing. And so let me see here. Let me scrutinize here. I would like you to begin by giving us a rundown of some of the key initiatives that you're going to be seeking to implement as we start off this new year.
Okay, well, the Department of Environment, we would have looked at last year and see some of the things we would have done, and we would hope to, advance this year on those initiative, objective, and even implementing new initiatives and objectives. For this year, our focus, our priority is on strengthening environment governance climate change, adaptation and resilience, waste management and pollution control, biodiversity conservation, public awareness and education, and data collection. As it speaks to strengthening environment governance, we this year will be reviewing and updating national environment legislation and policies to align with the emerging environmental issues and priorities. As it relates to climate change and adaptation, the department seek to implement community-based adaptation projects, promote the use of renewable energy and nature-based solutions. So we are looking at sustainable ways to basically manage and solve the issues that we have sustainably. Waste management, support the transition to a sustainable waste reduction practices, get persons involved in recycling, expanding the recycling project. We would have done that to adopt the capturing of paper. The facility has been expanded. There's a new facility there at the landfill that would have been a key spotlight, a highlight for last year. And within that, the new facility would have had some new balers, so to make the recycling project more efficient. And biodiversity, enhance production and in critical habitats, and basically lead more to the preservation of protected areas, and promote sustainable land use and practices. And as it relates to public awareness, we hope to engage the community more. We hope to get the youths more involved as we go forward in spreading the message of sustainability and actually spotlighting activities that are being done outside of government. So it's about education, engaging, and having persons to have a sense of solidarity. What we want this year is to push the initiative, or push the idea that conservation and protection of the environment is for everybody. It's not just the government, it's not just for the Department of Environment. The minister would have focused on that, and she would have been adamant about that. We have to find a way to get everyone involved, and we would have created a new vision that we call it NEWC, which is the National Environment Wellness Campaign, and that vision is going to be expressed, implemented through an initiative we call the EFE, the Environment for Everyone, where everyone is encouraged to get involved, do something. Whatever little you do, it adds up in the environment, and have persons know that the Department of Environment is there for support, and we are willing and ready to work with persons.
Okay, speaking about the environment and protection and enhancement and so forth, speak to me about the new policy as it relates to tree pruning, tree cutting, especially considering what happened around the circus area, I think it was recently. I was very concerned, but I realized it seemed to have been more of a pruning because the tree is catching back itself, but I was concerned, so speak to that.
Extreme prune that was.
Okay, when is what you saw happening there around the circus is not unique to that situation. It's a situation that we encounter, I would say, too often.
Go a little closer to your microphone, please.
It's a situation where we find happening too often,
yes,
where we tend to cut down trees instead of properly pruning them.
Yes.
What you said there was an extreme cutting, right? Yes, because of the species, it is a flamboyant,
yes,
which is a fast-growing tree. It springs back,
yeah,
right? However, we must work out that what we want to do is to educate people. Trees serve a vital role in our communities,
Yes.
in our environment.
In our ecosystem, really.
Right.
Yeah.
But nowadays, person tends to like to say, I want to see in front of me. I want to see for miles.
Yeah.
But then we end up creating what we call a concrete jungle. And so the natural conditioning of the air is lost when we remove the vegetation, especially the trees. And what we need to adopt is a culture of not cutting down trees, but of properly pruning of trees. Many times you have to look at the tree in where it is. Yes, it may cause a hazard, especially it may cause obstruction to your utility lines. You know, it may come in the way of construction. It may be also in a way when it comes into hurricane season that the tree is overgrown. And what is needed is proper pruning in this case. And so we came up with what we call the tree cutting protocol. It's more or less of a guide to persons who find themselves in a situation where a tree may pose some sort of a threat, a hazard, or something to them. And so they see that it needs, most people say it needs removing. But in this protocol is that we will make an assessment. Now, according to our legislation, and I'm referring to the National Conservation and Environmental Management Act of 2025, in Part 7 of speaks to conservation of biological diversity, Article 61, which speaks to forest management. It states that the department, meaning the Department of Environment, shall manage forests in unallocated crown lands outside of protected areas as a permanent forest estate in accordance with sustainable tropical forest principles, guidelines, and practices. In Part 4 of that same article, it says, no person shall cut or fell any timber or harvest or collect any non-timber forest produce from on crown or private land in St. Christopher and Nevis, except as authorized by a permit in writing issued by the director. Here means the Director of Environment. In accordance with the aforementioned legislation, we must note the following. Anyone seeking to fell, prune, or prune any tree, especially in a public space, must first request and obtain written permission from the Department of Environment. Number 2, permission is granted upon the case review and recommendation of the forestry officer. The felling is carried out by and at the expense of the petitioner. The Department of Environment may give any guidelines for the felling or pruning activity as it deems necessary. This is what we want to take persons to take note of. You must have permission for pruning or cutting your trees, even in your private property, but especially on crown land that doesn't belong to you. You need permission. So how it works is that you will come to the Department of Environment, you make your requests concerning the tree or trees, then we would proceed to do an evaluation of the situation. And we will go and make the assessment, look at where the tree is at, look at what your grievance is, and see what is needed, whether it is the act just pruning or the actual removal of the particular tree or trees. Yes, we would give permission for pruning. We would give permission for removal if it is deemed necessary.
May I interject?
Yes.
I have a concern here because I live on a property that has a number of big trees, and what you say smacks to me of a dictatorship where, now if I wanted to move the tree, I could understand having to come to you because it's a big tree, it's a full tree, But if I want to prune the tree, because tree leaves grow very fast, I mean, I have an issue with you telling me that I have to come to you to go through this red tape nonsense for you to come do an assessment, get back to me. To me, that is nonsense.
Okay. I understand you may see it as being nonsense because it is your tree and the pruning seems as something simple. However, you pruning your trees would also have repercussions to your neighbors as well, or the surrounding areas as well, right? So therefore, what we will do is give you guidelines, right? So far, I have not gotten a case where I would stop somebody from actually pruning, but I would give you guidelines on how to prune that tree. Because you may go and prune the tree. I'm going to give you a case.
The same case that he used earlier.
Right? Now, that tree is rooted in a property.
Yes.
And no doubt the property owner gave the order to do that.
Yes.
But it actually affects others around because it was providing a service to others around.
But to me,
in that case, that tree was supposed to be pruned in a particular way.
I agree. To me, that was
right. That was extreme.
Yeah, that was
right. So it's the same thing. Is you as a private property owner, many times what you're seeing as needed, okay, by this need chopped down, is just a little pruning and where and how to prune the tree. So then we would use our expertise.
But I'm also a farmer and I do research and I know how to prune trees. So, I mean, this is what, to me, it smacks of where does it end. You start here and you say, I got to come and, I know how to prune my trees.
Mm-hmm.
So why should I have to come to the government to tell me as a farmer and so forth that I have to come to get permission and you have to come, you have to do an assessment and I understand again, mind you, what you're doing, I like it. Because a lot of individuals are not au fait with how to go about doing this, right? But I have a problem when you're going to say it's like across the board, you have to come and then it further goes when the assessment has to be made, then you have to come back. And I'm thinking, okay, start with trees. Where is it gonna end?
Now, the thing is that you coming to me also serves another purpose. It also serves purpose as data for me. It also serves that, remember, you're not an island. You're not by yourself. So even though, yes, you have the expertise, you know how to prune the trees, because I'm not coming to do the pruning for you.
Yes.
You know how to prune your trees. But also, I knowing that you're going to prune this particular tree would also help me to know how to manage the areas around you. Right? How this wind flow going to go. Take, for instance, you have a huge mango tree. You want your mangoes, but you're just pruning. However, you're not removing the tree. How you prune that tree also affects how the airflow goes. So what if I'm planning to put, like, say, a building complex behind you or close to you? Then I would know, okay, this tree, when it is pruned, would give me a certain airflow through this area because of the sheer size of the tree that you're in. So it would not be like I come in to say, okay, then, don't prune.
Okay.
It's that I know how to manage around you.
And my other concern is the time process, because I don't want you to come and say, well, Mr. Quealy, I see you want to prune your tree, and next thing it takes me another week and a half, 2 weeks,
Now, which means it's going to be additional expense for you and all of that.
Yeah.
Yes, so we are aware, right? Especially the species of tree you have, the rate at which it grows. So by the time you come to me, and you have me, we try to expedite that as quickly as possible so that you could get, because another thing, I'll give you another scenario. What if a neighbor complains about the tree, right? And it's affecting them. We're nearing the hurricane season. I cannot delay, I have to give priority to that case.
Yes.
Because you have to prune that tree so that the neighbor would be out of
harm's way. I agree.
So it is a time-sensitive process. So when we get those requests, we don't idle on them. We try to get to them as quickly as possible.
Okay. That sounds good.
Right?
Yeah.
So And because it's something that we want to get going in the community, because we want to reduce the amount of persons just going and just chopping down trees.
Yes.
Right? And like you say, if it's on your property, people tend to think, but is my tree, I do as I feel like. But we need to understand, we are our neighbors' keepers. And so we need to actually do things that not just seems to benefit us.
I agree.
But also for the good of those around us.
Yeah.
I've also had cases where people refuse to cut. Neighbor complains, the branch is hanging over, or they are afraid. The tree is so tall, it's taller than your roof. If a wind comes and blows that tree, where does it fall? Right? And that is something you cannot predict. Right? So therefore, this is something we want, this protocol that we are putting forward, is to sort of rein in that the situation that we are having. Now, also we want to emphasize on persons that when you're doing the pruning and the cutting, that all safety precautions are adhered to. This is why it comes back down to when you're pruning the tree, how you go about doing it, right? Because you got to take in consideration at the time that you're operating, that the wind, when you start, may be blowing one direction, but by the time you're halfway to cutting a certain branch, it may suddenly shift. So you got to bear in mind what you're going to do. Whether you have to tie that branch prior to even starting cutting, so it would not fall on somebody's parked vehicle, because they may not be home, drop on somebody's roof, go through their window. People need to make a proper assessment of the area, of what they're going to do, how they're going to go about doing it. They may even have to get additional help. And tree cutting or tree pruning many times may look simple, but it may be actually run out to be quite expensive sometimes. Because based on your pruning, you may need to have to employ a bucket truck or something, right? Employ somebody who's going to climb high. You got to look at the risks that are involved. So the assessment is quite important, so that persons could also be aware of what is actually involved in pruning or felling any sort of trees or shrubbery that is around them.
Okay, let me ask this now. I think this might go back to your colleague, but I see here, let me ask, how is the departments improving their policies and so going to complement and supplement going forward, you know, in the community and societies?
Let me answer first, and couple it with what we are speaking here. As we saw with that, we have recently upgraded our main legislation, which is the National Conservation and Environmental Management Act. We have recently got that passed, and it is quite a robust piece of legislation that has taken us from a state of limbo, in that many times it was quite difficult to enforce, because it was very vague, very simple. But now it's quite robust and covers a great deal. But on top of that, we are now in the process of this year now, we're going to add the legislation, the regulations. The regulations is different from legislation. The legislation, the act tells you what is prohibited, but how do you go about executing? How you go about enforcing? And so the regulation tells you exactly what steps to take. Like, take for instance, if I come down the road, or somebody call me, boy, they down here cutting down the big tamarind tree by the cemetery. We know that big tamarind tree, right? And somebody just take it upon themselves and decide they go and they're going to just chop it down. Based on the legislation, you say that that is illegal, right?
Yeah.
But how do I go about dealing with that? Now, here is where the regulation comes into play. The regulation will tell me I have to go to that person, I have to serve them a notice, right? I have to go and inform them I also have to notify the police. You see where I'm coming from?
Yes.
The steps that it takes so that when you go before the legal bodies, that you have a case, a strong case, to actually do something. So you have the legislation that says what you shouldn't do. But how do I go about dealing with a case? So right now we are in the process of formulating. And so what we are presenting today, the protocol, are guidelines so that persons could adhere to the legislation. And so that, what am I trying to do? I don't want to go around locking up people and going to the legal bodies, right? People ain't got no time for that. And people ain't got no money to be spending on those kind of things. So we're giving out guidelines at this point in the meantime. So persons could be aware, once, it is illegal. 2, steps to take so that the process could flow and flow legally and flow smoothly. So that is what we're doing with our framework right now. So, these things take different steps.
Yeah.
The regulations takes a while.
I don't have a problem with what you're doing. I like what you're doing because I have a concern when I look around and I fear that we might be coming to much of a concrete jungle. So I like this kind of implementation, but I'm on the parts where I have concern, I'm just going to interject. So
Yeah.
No, we know that we're living in a dynamic society. Dynamic meaning change. We are ever evolving. We are ever changing. That is why you have amendments to legislations. So as time goes by, things have to change. But you know what causes the change? The interaction between you and I. So you have a concern. When we look at our framework and we came up with these things, they came about because of interaction with the society.
Yeah.
And so we feed off of society. Society feeds off of us.
That's the way it
so
should be.
Here we are. There are people who's not going to agree with this. Mm-hmm. But just like how you present your scenario, persons would also present scenarios to it. Cases where will arise that is not covered, seemingly not covered here, where we now have to go and make adjustments.
Yes.
But at the same time, what we do, we also have to be dynamic in our approach as well, and to involve the community as much as possible.
And I like your attitude too, because sometimes when people come in, and me, I like to be informed, I'm straight up. Sometimes when people come in your capacity, they're very thin-skinned, you understand? And they're very, ready to take the debate to an argumentative, but you take it and you give pointers, and I like what you say. I like your response because you are versed also in what you're doing. Okay, so it's a good thing. It's a good rapport.
I would tell you, I have had various cases when it comes, because we have let people to know we have already given persons permission letters. And what is interesting is that we do not have a standard letter to give to an individual. The standard is that we're giving you permission.
Yes.
However, that permission is based off a case by case
basis.
Because all those that we have given, all the scenarios are different.
Yes.
The players are different.
You're right.
There are areas where I've gone to person and I tell them plain out, leave the tree alone. Because why you want to remove the tree, you have not given me sufficient evidence.
Yes.
Why I should remove the tree. However, the nuisance that you see, I can help you now to mitigate it without actually affecting the tree.
Yes.
And there are areas where I tell people, cut down the tree.
Okay.
Because, take for instance, if you have a species like a ficus that is growing next to your house, and the house just built, and you newly planted, if I tell people, dig it up. Why? Because the root of ficus, all it needs is a minute opening in your wall. And that ficus would destroy your foundation. You see your house just start cracking up and you say, oh, me have the contractor ain't do a good job. I mean, only 5 years and look at my wall. When in truth and in fact is what you are not seeing.
Okay.
Right? Mango tree may be too close. Guinea tree may be too close. These things. Another thing, why you move the tree? A good avocado tree there, man, but they are magnets for termites.
Let me ask you a question. Hearing all what you're saying, it's very interesting. So how do we now, or how do you now go about informing and educating the people? Because people seem to feel, well, yes, you plant trees and it enhance the beauty of the ambience of your property, but they're not aware of for instance, what you just said about cracking the foundation. How do you go about doing
Well, many times, we try to speak with person as the case is coming in. Sometimes even you pass by, you see them doing something, you tell them, right? And like we are doing now, over the airways, use the avenues. And this year especially, because of what the cases we saw in last year, is to do a lot of public awareness, to get persons to know this. Because yes, the tree may enhance your property, but it's what species you're using, what distance you're planting it from your structures, whether it is your fence of concrete or whether it is your home. So therefore, sometimes it's not a matter of you hard and fast, you can't use that tree, but it's where you put it, right? If you put a guinea tree at your front of your yard, but that may be blocking the airflow to your neighbors once that is fully grown. If you see how tall that is, that's a building by itself, right? So all of these kind of things we try to educate, especially homeowners. A home is a huge investment. You spend thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands to build this lovely structure and expect to last for generations. But then you put down one tree that you find out, oh wait, every year I got to be changing faceboard. Every year my cupboard, how they get termites inside. Why is it? Because probably you have a pear tree. You have, the national tree, the flower, flamboyant. That's lovely. But even in government properties, I tell people, be careful how you plant this tree, because it's a magnet. It harbors termites. And so you may have a problem where the tree is not dying, but the termites end up in your cupboard. So all this is educating folks of the type of trees, distance, where, and how you plant. So it's education, education, education. A dialogue between me and you.
Yes. Now let me ask this question about this. This is a big concern. How do you deal with land minding, illegal land minding, and that kind of stuff? I guess maybe this is for your colleague, or is this
illegal sand mining?
Yes.
Well, I just want to touch on the compliance also, like Dr. Vaughan said. It's about educating persons. It's about public awareness, and we've ramped up the public awareness for this year. It's about engagement, community engagement also, that has been advanced for this year. And basically, we want persons to actually communicate with us. For instance, as it relates to public engagement, one of the things, some policies, I just want to speak to some policies that we will be regulating and enforcing this year. The plastic ban policy, the plastic ban. Last year, the plastic ban would have been implemented, and the 3-phase would have followed through. However, during the Christmas season, I'm sure persons would have seen a lot of forbidden banned items being used. However, this year, we're like persons, so this is the year when we will be enforcing these and regulating these legislation. Through education, definitely, community, and how we're going to do that through community engagement, through coming on the radio, speaking to persons. We have stakeholder consultation for certain areas, such as